how R&D Cannabis lines help cultivators conduct market research. R&D Cannabis lines, or limited edition small batch flower, create a line of communication between cultivators and consumers, enabling marijuana operators to conduct market research while still bringing in revenue. In addition to consistently bringing fresh genetics to consumers, brands that sell their research and development strains are able to collect buyers' critiques and evaluations about each product. The R&D line acts as a crucial feedback stage, particularly when deciding between phenotypes or gauging market reception, Miguel DeVivo, brand director at California-based cannabis breeder and cultivator Maven Genetics, told MJ Biz Daily via email. R&D Cannabis lines can help brands choose which new strains, phenotypes, and product formats to keep in their regular lineups, survey consumers to better understand product attributes such as flavor, sensory appeal, and effects, create community and enthusiasm around new releases, and educate consumers about cannabis cultivation and phenotyping. We also occasionally introduce unique strains that might not be aimed at full-scale release, but offer us invaluable insight into consumer preferences, including those that might not be the best yielders, but are uniquely exceptional, DeVivo said. Selecting fresh genetics. Colorado-based Native Roots Cannabis Company, a vertically integrated marijuana operator, started introducing R&D strains to its stores 2 years ago. Jason McDonald, Senior Director of Production Operations, said in an interview with MJ Biz Daily. Since then, the company has tested 28 strains and no fewer than 20 phenotypes of each. That's 300, 600. That's a lot of strains. McDonald and his team carefully vetted R&D candidates, first sourcing seeds from breeders and evaluating each plant's vegetative, flowering, and finishing traits. Out of the 20 to 30 seeds, 5 or so that fare well during cultivation make it to the consumption testing phase, when McDonald, the company's 2 head growers, and the senior manager post-harvest evaluate each jar of flower for visual appeal, taste, and aroma before and after the buds have been broken up. Native Roots internal testers also seek to identify each sample's place on the company's smell profile spectrum, which has sweet aromas on one end, sour on the other, and earthy in the middle. What we're tinkering with on this is that are we missing anything in our smell profile for our customers, McDonald said. And we're really heavy on fruity orange smelling strains. Maybe we don't have a cheese or a gassy smelling strain. Of the samples, the team selects 1 or 2 strains or 1 or 2 phenotypes of the same strain to package for consumers under the R&D label. A QR code on each jar of Native Roots R&D flower line directs consumers to an online survey where they can weigh in on the product's attributes and effects. This helps the company identify the appropriate categories such as creative, energetic, or euphoric. We really want to go through consumer feedback instead of just phenotyping or genotyping with indica, sativa, and hybrid, McDonald said. We wanted to get true feedback from consumers saying, hey, the majority of people felt this way when they smoked the flower. Out of 77 R&D products that have been developed at Native Roots, 11 have gone into regular production. New cannabis formats and blend. The Maven Genetics R&D line allows the Southern California company to test uncommon cultivators and new formats such as cannabis blends. For example, the company crossed its own Maven OG strain with Z Skittle and experiment in blending traditional OG qualities with a fruity citrusy profile, something that's not commonly pursued in OG cultivation, DeVivo said. We received positive feedback from our R&D line, and the new strain is now branded as Silver Iris OG and scheduled to be released this year, he said. Consumer feedback can often be surprising, Maven Director of Cultivation Chad Salute said during an interview with MJ Biz Daily. A lot of California consumers aren't excited about the apples and bananas strain, for example, because it was so popular. At one point, it lost that novelty factor, or it had, Salute said, until he introduced a small community of connoisseurs to Maven's version. It blows them away, he says of the genetics. It's just the best version of apples and bananas. It's kind of reinvigorated their interest in it. Salute plans to offer the strain through Maven's R&D brand, though it might take some convincing. It's something that I have to push through marketing because of the feedback we got in the field, Salute. In addition to the new genetics, Maven is testing new product formats such as mini pre-rolls. The brand has also started co-packing blends of different cannabis strains. It's a stoner's world. We call it a salad bowl. Building brand loyalty and community. There's a huge appetite among regular consumers for novelty. So the R&D line also builds excitement, community, and loyalty to the brand, he said. Discounts and other perks are offered for incentives for delivering feedback to the company, but it also educates consumers about the different ways to evaluate cannabis and how to develop more discerning tastes. We request feedback on every possible aspect, including the strain structure, bag appeal, flavor profile, aroma, effects, and overall experience, DeVivo said. At Native Roots, R&D strains are priced between the brand's mid-level and top-shelf flower lines. Meanwhile, Maven prices R&D products lower as an incentive for consumers to try them and give feedback. DeVivo says he recommends other cannabis cultivators consider offering an R&D line if they haven't already. An R&D line is crucial for staying engaged with the culture and incorporating valuable feedback into the breeding and pheno-hunting process, he said. It's a key component of our strategy to remain at the forefront of cannabis innovation. So let me kick this off before I hand this over to my fellow guests and panelists for their opinion, feedback, and perspective. The reason why this is news is quite simply because we don't have proliferation of consumption lounges and other places where people can legally, compliantly consume cannabis in public or in quasi-public environments. If we did, we'd be doing these types of focus groups in a much more overt and transparent way. And we've been doing it for a long time. We just haven't been doing it in a structured way. And so to me, this article is a representation of the normalization of cannabis migration into becoming a CPG product. I tried the Maven Genetics cartridges last year when we were judging the cup, was definitely happy with it. And I love this notion that they are gamifying or incentivizing their customers to provide that feedback, and not just buying habits and preferences, but in some ways when they're asking their customers to give them feedback about the effects, this is really like preclinical investigational level study data that one can glean if you have a big enough sample size. So I loved this article. We all need some good news, and it's great. Please, all of these companies, call me. I'll be on your R&D team. Don't make me beg. This is Yaro Kubrin, High at 9 News, Tuesday morning.
Hey, Yaro,
not opposed to begging, though, are you?
I love this story, man. Big shout out to Miguel. Big shout out to my man Shane Ponto over there, and my guys over at Maven. They've been doing some fantastic shit for years now, and so happy to see them getting more shine every year. Like, it's fantastic, and I love this R&D sessions. And I'm with you, Yaro. If they need more people, let's do it. I think it's only right.
Chris, you were pretty excited about this story while Yaro was reading it.
Absolutely. I got into cannabis to be a testing lab and to render human testing forever, because I know that all these guys running their own liquor stores, dispensaries. Did I say liquor stores?
Yeah, you said liquor stores.
So the corner liquor store where you get shot up, I see people getting shot at these dispensaries. Why don't they go cashless? What the hell is wrong with them? Anyway, after the fact, the most important thing is what it does to humanity, and there's only one university in America that they allow testing results from. So therefore, there's no reason to have wide scale. This man here will pay for my testing setups, and we will have the right scale of doctors. All the men on this panel will be involved. You know you would, because you know we would all become billionaires from the data that we got. And so therefore, congratulations to Maven. That sounds just like my company, the way they think. R&D Paramount, that's what I am. I'm technical officer.
I feel like this R&D setup is a really good way to engage and really create a lot of brand loyalty with your consumer base. Now, it may be a lot more cost effective to release these into the market with the costs of testing and the fact that it's an R&D sample size, so the batch lot would be a lot smaller. But I think to get that type of feedback, if you had some type of like Scantron that they scanned on the back and you collected all their data and then all their information that they shared with you in regards to their experience while using the product, I think is genius.
Absolutely.
We do a lot of R&D testing. We do a lot of R&D testing. It's a
stickier, top of the funnel customer experience for customers to know that their voice matters, that the brand is paying attention. The brand wins, the customer wins. If they're incentivizing, that means they're offering a reduced fee. Everybody could use that. And this is the way customers want to be. You want to go into the Porsche store and tell them you want the lime green stitching on your chair. Everybody wants a degree of customization or personalization in the way that they spend their money and the products that they receive. And so I love it. And I really appreciated the Maven cartridges last year as well. I was not mad at their cartridges. I thoroughly enjoyed testing those. I think it's great that we're also seeing this, and this article covers the fact that it's in multiple states. So while California would love to take credit for everything cannabis, and pretty much we can, this is a good example of other mature markets employing the same approach. And this also requires a regulatory paradigm that supports it. And so having nursery licenses that allow for R&D canopy that could then be sold at a lower price, Those types of things need to be structurally in place so that companies don't have to use their prime blooming area in some indoor facility that was very expensive for them to stand up to try small batches of stuff that might have great flavor but might not have great yield.
Yep. And you know what?
It's great. Yarrow, that Maven supplies weed for the people.
I am not surprised.
It's great marketing to involve your customer in making decisions about your next product, because your customer will be your customer for life, because now he had an opinion on something, right?
Yeah, he's part of something great.
Yeah, they feel like they're like they provided valuable feedback. So like when they buy something and it's actually trash, and they're like, "Hey, this is trash. Like I would never want to purchase this again." And then they tell you that, and then you never sell it again. They feel like they really, you know what I'm saying, had their way with you.
Yeah.
Just because you're the source doesn't mean your information shouldn't be crowdsourced.
I think you're onto something, Jason.
Question, Stone.
We should be demanding to be on the R&D teams and some of this boof-ass weed.
Well, I was just going to go into that with Stone. I was going to ask him if he had been ever part of any R&D teams over on the Delta 8 side out in Texas.
Get out of town.
Delta 8.9 is top shelf.
I've had the same plug since before Delta 8 was a thing, so you can stop throwing the Delta 8 shit.
Oh, man. I know.
Get him, Stone.
Oh, man.
Get him.
It's like New York, Stone. It's like New York. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Don't throw stones when you're living in a glass house.
That's right.
Oh,
I
man.
agree.
You guys. No, this is fantastic. I think this is great news. I think more companies need to definitely get with this, and yeah,